Hey everyone, how we doing today? This is James Sweeney, aka SplitSuit. Welcome back to another video. And as part of the Ask SplitSuit a Question series, a bunch of people asked hand history questions, and today's question comes from Thom. And Thom just wants me to review this hand played with kings in a live game. So let's check it out. Okay, so in this hand, the blinds are 2-4. Hero raises to 16 from early position, gets called, gets called, gets called, and gets called again. And now it's starting to feel a lot like a live game. Go here, check, check. Hero decides to bet. So in this kind of situation, I heavily ask myself if I check, would seat 7 or 8 decide to, say, bet for me, where I can bet, maybe induce 1 or 2 calls behind, and then I can go for the check raise. Definitely make sure you're at least considering going for check raises on boards like this. I think far too many people just default c-bet, but you really have to think about how the hand's going to play out, both if you were to bet and if you were to check the flop yourself. So as played, we end up getting called by the main villain, which is seat 7. Go here. Hero decides to bet for 80. Okay, totally on board with that. I'm definitely not going to panic just because a flush draw filled. But when seat 7 decides to punch it, Thom decides to find the fold button, and I think we need to talk about this for a minute. So the major crux of this hand is going to boil back to the fact that we are getting a sick price once seat 7 decides to shove. Once they shove, we're getting 4-1 on a call, which means we only need to be good 20% of the time. And in this situation, I think that's going to be the case. Now, if we think about it and just say we were solely drawing to spades, let's just say that seat 7 never had a nut flush for whatever reason. If we were only drawing to spades, we're in a situation where we have 9 outs, times it by 2 based on the 4-2 rule, and that's 18. Right, so that's pretty darn close to 20, and that's not factoring in the fact that we could simply just be crushing him right now with kings. Because this could be a situation where seat 7 has like Jack X, or maybe he has the Jack of spades with nothing else really going on, or maybe he has Ace Jack with the Ace of spades, right? And now we're in a situation where we're doing super, super well. In fact, we can prove this using Equilab. So what I like to do is, whenever I'm analyzing a hand like this, I first say, okay, what would my initial thought process be based on range, my estimated equity, go from there. And then when I'm studying it, I also say, okay, well, let's go proof it mathematically just to double check that we were 100% right the whole way through. So in this situation, let's just give kind of a worst case scenario. So we're say 10s, 8s, let's say Jack 10, for whatever reason, they slow play that on the flop. And let's say that they could have some nut flushes, right? So we're going to say like Ace Queen, Ace Jack, Ace Queen. Oh, no, can't have that. What do we got? Ace 10? No, 10 of spades is on board. Let's just say like Ace 3, just for rounding it out. Give those in spades. Okay, evaluate it. And again, you notice that we're doing just fine. Yeah, we're not crushing an equity by any stretch, but we're doing just fine. And all these hands are reasonable. Now, if you think, okay, Jack 10 simply can't be in there, 10s and 8s won't be in there because you think they would have raised that on the flop. And again, that's a pretty reasonable assumption. If we say there's only nut flushes in here, well, obviously we're going to be crushed where we can't do that. But if we think about some other flushes that could possibly be in here, let's say 6, 7 of spades, let's say things like that. Do another suit selection. We're do 6, 7. Can't do 5, 6. Can't do that. So let's do that. Let's do things like that. No. Let's do like Jack X of it, right? Jack 10. That. Let's do that. And give those in spades. And again, this is just kind of like evaluating pretty worst case scenario. Yes, we're not good. But the second that we can factor in things like Ace Jack, right? Ace Jack is a big one. Let's just say that they could have full Ace Jack, or they could have Ace Jack, but it has to have a spade in it. Okay, let's just throw that in there and see what it does. Now you notice that we're doing just fine. So this is a situation where, yeah, in a super worst case scenario, you can be really behind. But in a normal case scenario, you're going to have at minimum 20% equity, no problems. So this is a situation where I would feel very happy getting it in. I think folding here is just far too tight. I would never want to put in 80 bucks here only to fold to another 120 more. I think that's just going to be a little too nitty, and I'd really like to see Hero stack this off profitably rather than fold and concede the pot to someone who probably doesn't deserve having respect for having solely the nuts when they go for that raise. So Thom, thanks for the great hand, and if you or anyone else has a poke-related hand or question, feel free to send it in to me directly at splitsuit.com/send. There you can leave any hands or questions in my hand drop box, and I'll add them to my list as soon as I can. If you have any comments or questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Otherwise, good luck out there, and happy grinding.